Hey guys, welcome back to the Aphrodite podcast. We're gonna get straight into the topic of the video. We are going to be talking about the power of vulnerability, how opening up strengthens connections and personal growth. I think a lot of us struggle with being vulnerable because we feel like we're going to be judged or we're going to be labeled as different. And in order to grow and to become someone that you dream to be, you have to really do a lot of introspection and know who it is you are and what are your values. And if you don't know who you are, that's going to be a lot harder because you're going to allow bad friends, bad relationships, and just bad personal behavior into your life. And it's going to be a cycle and you're never going to seem to be able to get out. So it's very important to understand how to be vulnerable, who to be vulnerable to, and to have those outlets in place. Opening up can be one of the hardest things you do, especially if you've been hurt or betrayed in the past. But vulnerability isn't a weakness, it's a doorway to self-discovery and healthier relationships. Vulnerability means exposing your true self, including your fears, your pains, and your emotions. It's about being honest even when it feels uncomfortable. You might think, why open up if I've been hurt before? I've asked myself that many times, but over time I realized the answer. Because it's the only way you'll heal or grow. For years, I built walls around myself. I was scared to let anyone in, but I learned the hard way that not dealing with my emotions only made them worse. When I first opened up in therapy about my trauma, it was tough. It meant facing parts of myself I didn't want to acknowledge, but doing so helped me understand how much my past experiences were affecting my present. I learned that while I can't control what happened to me, I can definitely control how I respond to things, and that mindset shift helped me grow. By sitting with my discomfort and sadness, I started to understand myself better. I realized that it's okay to feel. Emotions didn't have to be suppressed. They have meaning and lessons to offer. Being vulnerable definitely feels risky. When I was going through a serious health scare, I wanted to reach out to someone who seemed caring. However, my past made me scared to trust. I had been betrayed before by family and friends, and I just didn't want to go through it again. I built a wall up and I chose to face my struggles alone. I know now that being afraid to open up is totally normal. It's almost a defense mechanism. It's your mind protecting you from not wanting to be hurt again. To overcome that fear, you have to trust yourself again. If you can't be there for yourself, you won't know what you need or who can actually support you. The more I learned to sit with my discomfort, the easier it became to find people that truly cared. Not everyone will understand or respond the way you want, but that's okay. You can't control others, but you can control who you let in your life. Vulnerability isn't just about connecting with others, it's also about understanding yourself. When you open up, you start to learn how to listen to your emotions without judging yourself. You realize that your feelings aren't burdens, they're signals, guiding you towards what you need to heal and work on. In therapy, I was taught that emotions aren't meant to be ignored. Sometimes you have to sit with that sadness or discomfort to know where it's coming from. For so long, I suppressed my feelings, but allowing myself to feel, to process, led to deeper self-awareness and self-love. If you're scared to be vulnerable, know that it's normal. It's okay to be afraid, but recognize by keeping those walls up, you may be blocking people who could be there to help you, whether that be friends or therapy. And in the process, you may be blocking your own growth. What I would suggest to start with is acknowledge your fear. It's valid. Your mind wants to protect you from being hurt again. Understand that not everyone deserves your vulnerability. Not everyone has the emotional intelligence to hold space for your feelings. Learn to be there for yourself. If you can't sit with your own emotions, it will be harder to find people who can sit with them too. And remember, there are people out there who won't make you feel like a burden. They will listen and they will care. I've noticed that women are more open about their emotions, but even within female relationships, vulnerability can be misused. Gossip and betrayal can make it very hard to trust. But if someone uses your vulnerability against you, they're not your friend. Don't let other people stop you from opening up to people who truly care. For men, vulnerability can be even harder. Society often teaches men to suppress their feelings and not be too soft. But the more men start to understand the power of emotional openness, it's not about being weak, it's about being authentic to yourself. Both men and women can benefit from opening up, but it requires finding the right people. Those who know how to listen, process, and respond with empathy. Some of you may relate to this. When I first open up, I often feel dismissed. People didn't seem to have the emotional capacity to be able to handle my vulnerability, and that definitely made me feel like I wasn't worth being listened to. But over time, I realized that it wasn't me, it was them. They didn't know how to hold space for emotions because they themselves didn't know how to hold space for their own emotions. The key takeaway here is that your emotions aren't a burden. If someone can't handle it, it's a sign that they're not the right person for you. Vulnerability is not easy, but it's definitely the key to deeper connections and personal growth. It's a process. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's scary, but it's worth it. By opening up, you learn to trust yourself and others. You grow stronger in your own identity, and you make room for people who will show up for you in the way that you need. Something to think about. What is one thing that you're afraid to open up about? The more you open up, the more you'll discover about yourself. And I hope every single one of you will do yourself the favor of showing yourself that love and self-worth and validating your feelings. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're back, thank you for showing up. If you're new here, feel free to tune into my other videos every Monday. Thanks.